All right, everybody. Hello. It is Brian. It is Friday, and one, I want to apologize for a second. Did not get to stream more this week. The plain fact of the matter is, I was busy as shit. So we have some renovation going on in our backyard. I had an unfortunate event where the backyard people had to, unplug some things from our house. And the previous owners cursed me. I think my office is cursed because you haven't seen the whole office. I've put an overlay up, and when we record with Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin, we have I have some bookshelves back here, but right over here on this side is a window, which is not the original window in the house. The original window was much larger. This person had two rather large wooden racks, which I can only assume was stuffed full of computers. And they had Ethernet connections in the wall that connected to various parts of the house, which I don't use. The problem was, I think the person may have done some janky electrical work and put some conduit on the outside of the house, which was shunted directly from what was called in the breaker box the exercise room. But they went to disconnect the sunroom and the stuff in the backyard from the power. And apparently it was shunting power directly from my office circuits. So I've been dark the past day and a half. I had to actually, I know, first world problems. I was sitting in my dining room, working, unable to stream and unable to do anything for the past 36 hours. And it finally came to it that the pool guy was like, "Oh yeah, our bad," because I asked the folks who effed it up in the first place, "Hey, could you fix that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we don't do electric." And I was like, "You managed to do electric just a few minutes ago when you tore everything down and broke it." And they're like, "Yeah, we don't do electric." Okay, so talk to our backyard guy who's doing the reno for our backyard, and said, "Yeah, there'll be an electrician by next week to unfutz that." I mean, we expected problems. We had a previous owner also had a koi pond in the backyard, or some kind of pond that was, maybe it was a thinking or a meditative space. I don't know. And yeah, so I have, in the jankiest of ways, I have a surge protector plugged into an outdoor, like, high amperage, about a 4 or 5 plug cable, which is plugged in down the hallway to a wall outlet, so that I can have my desk running. And thankfully, it's not overheating. It's not causing any issues. I've got the computer on it. I've got my work stuff and everything. But yeah, that's been my life the last at least 12 hours here. So yeah, there's been a lot going on in the news. Ironically enough, I'm not doing any Rust today. I'm sorry if you came looking for Rust. That is not going to happen today. I thought, maybe I don't want to do Rust right now. The little housekeeping before we go. I'd like to thank Fitzo2. Pasta was dead, of course. Thank you to our new followers. So Fitzo2 and Pasta was dead. Thank you so much for following our stream here. Appreciate your time. And yeah, so let me. If I don't do that, it's going to look super damn big. So let's get my browser up here. Ding. There you go. Okay. So this is some clickbait. Shockwaves through the security ranks. Okay, great. If you wanna call it security ranks, we can, I guess. I don't. You know, CISOs have always kind of been. I don't know. I don't want to call them whipping boy because that's gendered, but They've always been the people that seem to be blamed for the issues that occur in a company. I think we've talked about this on podcasts, on streams. The lifetime of a CISO is measured in very short years, probably, depending on the company, depending on the work they do, depending on the kind of issues they are dealing with and their role in the company. It could be short, it could be long. We've seen good CISOs like for a while he was the CISO canary. Let me go see Yahoo CISO. I forget his name. Anyway, he's a good dude. When I remember his name, I'll let you know. But then you've seen this is not the first CISO that's been under either indictment or has been challenged by a court of law. You have Uber CISO, who was Joseph Sullivan, was supposed to serve a 3-year term for pretty much covering up or sweeping under the rug the fact that there was an extortion attempt by ransomware folks to Uber, disguised it in a bug bounty. So that was bad. Shouldn't have done that. I'm not sure what the person was thinking. I'm sure once things come up, where it's not legally binding, we would be able to find more information, whether or not he was ordered by, Uber's, management and board to cover this up or to hide this, or they were trying to make it so that it didn't show up in things like 10K or 8K filings. That could be a thing. This is something similar. So the SEC has charged the CISO, Tim Brown, with fraud and internal control failures related to the 2020 supply chain cyber attack on the company's Orion platform. So that was in the news, right? If you remember correctly, I think the timeline was, I believe Mandiant said that they'd been hacked, or Mandiant had been hacked, and then come to find out, Mandiant's like, oh yeah, we got hacked, but it was through SolarWinds. You know what? I want to go look that up. SolarWinds 2020 timeline breach. Okay, so here's the. Let's hope TechTarget actually did their due diligence and wrote this up very well. So let me see. How did it happen? All right. So September 2019, they gained unauthorized access to SolarWinds network. The threat actors injected code into Orion's platform. So, that malicious code is available now. February 20th, 2020, malicious code known as Sunburst injected into Orion. So that's cool. This was like right during the beginning of the pandemic too. So to add to the pandemic issues, now we've got this. And then in March of 2020, SolarWinds started sending out bad patches with the Orion, with the hacked code inside. Let me see. I'm trying to see. January 20. Yes, according to them, dwell time was 95 days. I was trying to figure out the timeline as if, but at some point it was suggested that Mandiant was hacked. And, they went through this whole rigmarole. And so the company they mention in here, cybersecurity firm B, I believe, is Mandiant when they're talking about this. So they said shortly after October 2020, so the attack against cybersecurity firm B. So I'm assuming this is the attack against Mandiant. SolarWinds employees, so Mandiant identified, hey, SolarWinds got some weird things going on. SolarWinds employees, including Tim Brown, recognized similarities between the attack on the U.S. government agency A. So there was more than one attack. So there's government agency and Mandiant got hit. I don't. I'm not going to speculate who government agency A is. It might have been something from anywhere between any government agency at this point. We'd have to go look that up. So a person or personnel, when personnel at cybersecurity firm B, which I'm assuming is mandated at this point, asked the employees if they had previously seen similar activity, some employee, infosec employee F, which is to be assumed to be the CISO, falsely told cybersecurity firm B that they had not. He then messaged a colleague somewhere, either on Slack or whatever internal messaging system they use, and he said, "Well, I just lied." That's interesting because as I'm reading this, this sounds bad, right? My problem with this is that there is I think it was the NFC, Age of Music, NFC, National Football Conference, NFC, Nuclear Payroll for Department of Agriculture. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and hi, Age of Music. It's great to see you. National Finance Center. Oh, okay. Yeah, Tech Target again, light on details for me. Definitely need to understand that. So yeah, there you go. So they sent. Yeah. Okay. So there may have been a reason. I'm not defending Tim Brown at all. The article first, this is clickbaity. There's a lot of folks on Twitter going, "Oh my God, CISOs, nobody wants to be a CISO. There's a shortage of CISOs." One, nobody wants a CISO job because the job description is probably hot garbage. Everybody wants to be a CISO, but they want to be a CISO for a good company. And if there's shortages of CISOs, maybe it's because the companies are hot garbage and people at a certain level who like, you know what, I feel like I can be a CISO, but I only want to be a CISO for a company that will actually listen to me, give me budget, understand what I do and what security does at an organization. And there's no shortage of CISOs. I think there's a shortage of good companies that actually know how to treat a CISO, right? So anyway, going back to this thing. You could, if were I Tim Brown at this point during this conversation, there may have been somebody in the government who told me, you can't talk about this to anybody. So if I've got Mandiant coming to me at SolarWinds saying, "Hey, have you seen this elsewhere?" I legally may not be able to tell, "Hey, government entities had this problem." Or, they could have said, at minimum, he could have said, "Yes, we've seen this other places," or "Yes, we were notified." Mandiant may ask for additional questions, but be like, "Yeah, I'm legally I can't legally tell you because I'm under NDA," or whatever. I don't understand why. I don't understand what would be gained by Tim not telling or telling Mandiant in this case. So if it's a, "Hey, why didn't you let people know?" kind of thing, or is it, it could have been, "Hey, government doesn't want me to tell people things. We can't share that stuff," right? There's so many companies that don't give enough agency to their security team. I would temper that age of security by saying some companies don't. If you take the shackles off of a security team, what do you get? There's a trust thing there, right? Just as we assume all product teams are hot garbage and they don't care about security and whatever, they only care about it once the horse is bolted out the door. There's shades of gray there. I think it's a trust thing. Some CISOs are just marketing people, right? There's or whatever their role is. Some thought, some are hired because they're celebrity thought leaders, and that's all they're there to do is to hawk product and to go to conferences and speak eloquently about how this product is going to save everyone's life. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here in this article, and there's other articles. I would suggest reading more than just dark reading on this. Depending on what slant people want to put on this. Um, the SEC alleges Brown was aware of but ignored warnings about the company's vulnerabilities. I again, ignored is a strong word. Ignored is willful negligence, right? They have to show willful negligence. They have to prove that, and that's hard to do unless they literally have an email going, "Hi, I'm Tim Brown. I don't give a shit about all the vulnerabilities in our environment." It's going to be hard to prove willful negligence. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but it seems to me that that burden of proof is going to be very hard to prove unless they have that kind of information. Um, so 2018 presentation, SolarWinds engineer flagged the company's. Okay, so you know there are some things that they could say, hey, we went to try to fix this. There's things that are happening at that organization to suggest that. So by ignoring these warnings about the cybersecurity posture of the company and failing to raise the issue up the chain of command, the SEC alleges Brown willfully let the company's systems unprotected. You know what? I'm looking forward to this discussion in court. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot going on with this story and this news article, and there's I don't think that being a CISO is a bad thing if that is the direction you want to go. I do think that a CISO should not be always coming from rank and file security. Hey, I was a red team operator. I've done this thing in my environment. I think some of the tooling for a CISO needs to be kind of well rounded. I would say a generalist. I aspired to be a CISO once, back when I was impressionable and thought I could make a real change in organizations. As you've heard me talk about so eloquently on this stream, I've kind of fallen out of the want to be a senior security person in that respect. I would say if you're going to be a CISO, I would say the best CISOs are probably going to be lawyers, like my friend Wendy, because the lawyers will be able to advocate for themselves, I think, better. If something goes pear-shaped like this, and I'm sure there's more facts that are going to come out as the trial goes, as we get closer to trial. It will probably take years to happen, or they've been building the case and they're actually going to go ahead with it. So the SEC accused Brown of selling inflated SolarWinds stocks before its value plummeted. That would be interesting too if they can, if they have that kind of that stuff. I do know that you see some news stories sometimes where there's a breach, and then it looks like the CEO of the company has dumped some stock, right? You CEOs and people with a lot of shares will sometimes have an automated system set up to sell shares at a certain time a month. If you sell your shares on October 1st and you get breached on the 3rd, it looks shitty. It looks real shitty, right? Like, oh, the CEO knew he sold his shares on the 1st of the month and he got breached on the 3rd. No, there's automated and tax reasons why you sell those shares as they are vesting or as they're coming up. So we need to understand that. Being a CISO of a company, you probably get fat loot in terms of RSUs or vesting stock or something like that. And sometimes, depending on your methodology, you either sell as soon as you get them or you sell as they vest or what have you, to minimize things like capital gains in those items. Now, Other charges include making materially false and misleading statements about cybersecurity practices, like stating programs like NIST were fully in place when they were only partially deployed. I I actually talked about this in the CISP boot camp that we did a couple weeks back, and it's good to say that you follow the framework. There's some language there, right? The framework is a suggestion, and if you do some of the controls, uh, yeah, it's hard because you either fully implement it or you can argue that you didn't. They're partially deployed, right? Nobody ever wants to say, well, we partially implemented NIST framework. Well, which NIST framework, right? So it's interesting. SEC, and again, I'm not a SolarWinds employee. There was another story that I read about somebody, coming in and trying to, for a different company. I can't remember if it's SolarWinds, but they, would, say things on like their podcast or stream, which I've tried really, really hard not to say stuff about my day job on this show, because I know where my bread's buttered, and I try not to, hype anything or bag on things by design, because I like to eat food and I like to make rent, or not rent, but I like to make my mortgage every month. So yeah, SE, SolarWinds is, making comments about what happened there, making sure, there's a defense, they are girding their loins for the lawsuit that is coming up, and yeah, making that happen. So yeah, the big thing is the bracing for fallout. There was some CISOs I saw on like LinkedIn. Everybody was talking about, oh, this changes how the CISOs work and accountability and stuff. I think the CISOs have always had accountability. I just think that at some point, like with the Uber CISO and the you know, uh, when that stuff happened, the CISO either has the ability to go ahead and do what is necessary for the company, with the idea that the company, will they trust the company enough to cover whatever happens, or ethically you could just say, yeah, I'm out, I quit. CISO accountability is going to be interesting, going forward. Yeah, so yeah, Jessica Sika at Weave worries the move by the SEC will push more people away from the CISO role, have a chilling effect. We're already seeing CISOs leaving their jobs to become field CISOs for vendors. Sure, why not? This is probably way more lucrative for you, and you don't have any of the responsibility. Kind of like hiring a third-party pen test firm. You can throw a report over the fence and leave and come back in a year and nothing has changed. Or you can just be like an advisory CISO, like we've talked with some folks online. I've seen more folks saying, "Hey, I'm opening up for consultancies to be a CISO." I actually have thought about doing something similar for some startups. I've got a friend or two who are in startups here in San Diego that I was thinking about. Hey, I'm available for security consultation. And I can't give you a lot of time, but I can give you time if you want to throw up something up against the wall to see if it sticks. Yeah. So almost none have the resources to do their jobs. Yes, budget is nothing new. Lack of it. People trying to do more with less. Main concern: SEC and other entities will start holding CISOs accountable for breaches that happened from them not getting the resources they need to do the job. I don't think this. I can't imagine the SEC doing that to the CISO themselves, because ultimately it feels to me like the CEO and the board are responsible for. Ultimately, the captain of the ship is the one who's responsible for the problem. But she adds, in terms of disclosures, telling the truth is always the smartest move. Don't lie, don't cover up. Make sure you're remediating the most critical issues that affect your business. That's great. I'm not even the CISO of my company here, but it is very hard to get things moving. And security engineer with a VPN connection thing, that is very much a tactical issue. Go back up here talking about where is that? Yeah, Um, 2018 present test. So 5 years ago, engineer flagged the company's remote access setup as not very secure. Explained the threat actor could use it to basically do whatever it wants until it's too late. Those kinds of things are long-term solutions. Rolling out a VPN solution, or how they're doing remote access setup at the time in 2018. I would say, if they're using SSL VPN or something back in the day, technology's gotten better with the pandemic. Remote access issues. So, gutting and replacing your existing remote access setup is not just like something you can do overnight. I don't know if they were in the process of doing that kind of stuff when this all happened. But, depending on when it happened, you're looking at, waiting for budget that may or may not occur, trying to get people to, hello, moon pie dumplings. What does it say? What remote access setup they have? Dark reading does not go into that kind of. Well, maybe they mention it here in the actual complaint. Let's go look up the actual complaint. So SolarWinds. Oh, sorry. I'm usually pretty good about putting in links and stuff. My kryptonite. I'm still learning how to work with my kryptonite, so you'll have to excuse me. We'll talk about the active MQ one here in a second. That one. By the way, there you go. All right. So, okay. In October 2018, same month, SolarWinds had its IPO through a registration statement, only generic and IP. Brown wrote an internal presentation. The SolarWinds' current state of security leaves us in a very vulnerable state for our critical assets. All right, so they've already done e-discovery. They've already pulled emails. They've already pulled, Slack messages. God forbid if you're using HipChat or something else like that, or Teams or whatever it is system you're using. Their e-discovery's already pulled all the emails from Tim Brown. True state of SolarWinds practices ultimately came to light only following a massive cyber attack, which exploited some of SolarWinds' poor cybersecurity practices, which impacted thousands of customers. That attack, termed Sunburst, publicly traded company, 8K, massive Sunburst security incident, materially misleading because it touted supposedly strong cybersecurity practices. SolarWinds created software in a secure development lifecycle that follows standard security practices, including vuln testing, regression testing, pen testing, and product security assessments. Okay, everybody has a secure software development lifecycle. Security claim password policy covers all applicable information. Okay, so 8 characters, upper lower number special. They done did that. Also stated SolarWinds had access to sensitive data in databases, systems, and environments that are. Oh, okay. So they made some claims. That sucks. There's all were materially false and misleading. Okay. They probably added that to the SEC filing. That's the problem, right? So they, the PR folks were like, "Do we do least privilege? Yeah, least privilege for us is 800 people accessing the database." Yeah, Moose Pie. If they made claims that were verifiably false, yeah. And again, I don't work for the company. I don't use their product. I don't give a shit about SolarWinds in this case. There's just a lot here to be taken in terms of context. I mean, how many times have you worked for on a project and need to know is like 1,000 people, and it's like least privilege 1,000 people, and you're like, is that really least privilege? Well, yeah, we have PR people and marketing people and all of those. Like, do they really need to have access to all of these things? Granular access control is not easy to do. I don't know how big SolarWinds is. And some of the comments made about VPN connection, I think we reported at the time they had managed to gain access to the developer's laptop. I want to say there was a developer laptop thing where they were able to get on the machine and put the code inside the developer's local repo or something like that. That's coming up. Some I don't know why. I don't want to. I shouldn't say that. Just get rid of that last 20 seconds. Um, yeah. So poor cybersecurity practices included failure to consistently maintain a secure development lifecycle. Oh, you know what? So you know what? Let me go look that up. MoonPie, Solar Winds developer laptop vulnerabilities 2020. So Corday is okay. So new evidence suggests SolarWind. This was the article from 2020. This sounds very similar. I think we may have actually looked at this one. Investigation how the attackers managed to compromise the internal network and poison the system still underway. We may be one step closer to understanding what is a meticulously planned and highly sophisticated, whatever. A new report published by Reversing Labs revealed the operators behind the espionage managed to compromise the software build and code signing infrastructure of the Orion platform. Okay, so source code of the affected library directly modified to include malicious backdoor code, which was compiled, signed, and delivered through the existing patch release management. Tainted was also right. MoonPie. Everything's highly sophisticated. That was the Mandiant term that people that coined way back in the day because that was what Mandiant used to say about it was highly sophisticated. Makes you look better if only an elite hacker was able to get right instead of the skids or somebody running some PowerShell scripts or some shit on your network. So including seemingly harmless modifications act as a stepping stone for the real payload down the line. Compromised build system. So they either got in and compromised the build system or they added the code in some way. So how'd the compromise happen? High degree of familiarity with software. The existing software release management itself was compromised. The class in question was modified at source code level to build a new software update containing the backdoor library. Yeah. While not immediately clear how the attackers got access to the code base, security researcher Vinod Kumar's disclosure about SolarWinds update server being accessible with the password SolarWinds123 assumes new significance given the overlap in timelines. Publicly accessible GitHub repo that was leaking FTP credentials. Okay, so they were using weak passwords in some cases. Hacker could use the credentials to upload malicious executables. GitHub repo was open to the public since 2018. So yeah, they've made some claims. The SEC has to prove that those are justifiably false. The burden of proof is on somewhat on the prosecution in that case. MoonPie, I should definitely use that one. I'm doing a cybersecurity competition where we're given a highly insecure box and basically asked to write up incident response reports after we get hacked. Highly sophisticated attack of a web shell in our website software. Web shell backdoor was pre-installed. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think the Mandiant letter highly sophisticated. The reason I say that it was a Mandiant thing was because it used to be they would come in and they would check your system out and they would give you an after action report. And I believe they used to call Mandiant used to like give you a letter saying, they couldn't have stopped it. It was highly sophisticated or something like that. That was way long time ago. So. But yeah, yeah. There's just a lot going on here, and I'm sure that people are worried about the job of the CISO and the role of the CISO. I think only good can come from this. It's going to help redefine what a CISO does and how they work, and This is the second big one. So, Jake Williams, yeah. CISO should be very careful about statements they issue in the future. Yep, very good, Jake Williams. Um, yep, that might contain overly optimistic language. Now, we assume that the CISO is the one who made that language, or you know, the CISO made it, and it's really the PR company doing it. CISOs get roped into signing off on a statement implying the existence of a functioning program. Thank you, Jake Williams. See, I gotta read down further, right? I gotta read down further. I've even worked with publicly traded companies just publicly discussing a program still in the planning stages as if it were fully deployed. In short order, I don't think you'll be able to find a CISO to play word games like this. Yeah, so you're gonna run into. I think the role of CISO. I don't want to be doom and gloom. I don't think it's going to change much, to be honest. I think there may be some additional oversight depending on how this ends up. I'm sure that some of the discussions the SEC is having with the White House and how everything is being reported, some of the new materiality uh, issues with the SEC and the 10K filings we've talked about with Nicole Sundin will highlight more of these things. I would say, what was that in football? You've got a couple of teams like the Patriots and those, and they were stealing signals. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's so awful!" And, the Patriots are stealing signals. The other side of the coin is maybe they're just the only team that's been caught so far, right? There's probably other CISOs out there who are probably sweating bullets right now, and if they're sweating bullets, they know they've done wrong. There's other CISOs out there that are like, I'd like to believe if I was in this case, I would ethically, resign immediately. Uh, so I don't want to go too more far on this because I've ranted for 40 minutes on this, but you just got to know what you're getting into when you're dealing with a CISO. You're no longer a security person when you're a CISO. I think that's just what you have to tell yourself. I'm no longer a security person when I'm a CISO. I'm a risk person. And actually, Jen Shear actually I think had mentioned something like that in our Slack channel. You're no longer a security person. You're a risk person. You're a risk communicator. You're communicating risk up to your management to say, okay, we need a new VPN because we're using shit from 2014 and it's not supported anymore, and this is the thing that we need to do. So us rank and file security folks are like, what's the budget look like next year? Well, we have $150,000. Well, we need a new VPN. Well, that's going to cost $200,000. Okay, as the CISO, I'm going to be like, here's the risks of not updating this VPN. We're going to have all kinds of issues. This will ultimately save us. Not being the next SolarWinds. But I mean, it's like you're communicating risk, and that's why I said friends like my friend Wendy, who's a lawyer, killing it as a CISO right now because she can effectively talk about risk. She can speak as a lawyer. Hey, I'm not and can communicate with legal and risk management folks to understand. Hey, as a lawyer, I'm going to represent myself in this case. I'm not going to do that. You're ethically bound right there to say that. So, the cybersecurity competition I'm doing is sponsored by Global Protect VPN, which doesn't support Linux, so I'm forced to use Windows. Yeah. I like Linux. I love Windows. Sorry, MoonPie. I uninstalled my Ubuntu on my laptop because I tried using Linux a lot. I don't know why I got off on this tangent, but there was too many things that would go wrong that I would either have to go, is it the software or is it Linux? And at that point, I was like, deal with the devil you know and not the devil you don't know. The last straw for me was DaVinci Resolve, which I'm using and I'm learning to do things like compositing and editing and video and audio stuff. I could download using YouTube download from YouTube a video in MP4 format. Imports fine in the Windows version of DaVinci Resolve. drop it into my laptop running Ubuntu 22 or Fedora 85 or whatever the hell it was. Wouldn't import. Only the audio would import. The video wouldn't import. So many videos on how to convert this using VLC, and I tried those and it didn't work. And I was like, okay, I'm using the exact same numbers, in YouTube download. When you YouTube download, it gives you numbers. Like 312, I think, was the MP4 version that I was using. Download it on the Windows box, imports fine. Download it on the Linux box, it doesn't import at all. I'm like, the fuck, right? So at that point, it was like, okay, I've had audio issues that I've had to deal with, Jack, ALSA, Open Audio, 3 different audio subsystems, trying to make sure that everything gets patched, OBS issues, Linux isn't supported by my face cam, or Linux doesn't support my Elgato face cam. Audio, for Focusrite was janky. So I was like, I shouldn't have to work second job, third job to be able to make shit work in Linux, or I, buy only Linux supported things. I was like, fuck it. I just went back to Windows. I do all of my red team work from a series of smart fridges. Well done, Age of Music. Well done. Yeah. One of these days we'll just be able to, say, hey Google, hack the thing, and it'll happen. So I can get away with that now because literally I have no power in my office right now. I'm going through one extension cord. I know someone on Discord who claimed to have a botnet of a programmable. Teledildonics is a thing. Yes, they ran Linux, were internet connected, received no updates. Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. That's definitely a thing. I when we bought new stuff here in San Diego, we got a SmartThings oven, which is kind of interesting. I can't do much with the SmartThings app and the oven. The hood that it comes with was also SmartThings, so you can do things like turn the light on, turn the light off, make the fan go faster or slower, or turn it off. The oven will tell you how many minutes you have left to cook something. But it won't do anything like allow you to turn on the oven or allow you to turn on the burners or anything like that. So I was like, okay, that's not awful, right? I don't have to get up off the couch if I'm watching, the Chargers play and go, how many minutes do I have left on my creme brulee? I can look and go, oh, I have 22 minutes left on my creme brulee or pizza. Yeah, order. Yeah. Yeah, your oven. I've noticed you haven't used me for a while. Are you ordering pizza? Yeah, exactly. Hey, oven, order me a pizza. Yeah, there you go. So yeah. So this is in active exploitation. Apache Active MQ. MQ is some kind of message queuing system. There's an RCE 20, it's a remote code exec, runs arbitrary shell commands by manipulating class types in OpenWire protocol. So Apache MQ in this case might be something you're using. I've seen my research in this says it's mostly being used in like infrastructure, Cisco, OpenWall. Again, kind of not a thing that would affect Cisco directly, but if you're using MQ on Cisco stuff, you'll have to worry about that. So it is a multi-protocol Java-based message broker. So there's several different versions here. You manage IoT devices using MQTT. You exchange messages between web applications using something called Stomp over WebSockets. It's in Java. And of course, and there's 2 different versions that they have currently on their website. Classic and something called Artemis. There we go. And it's under active exploitation by bad guys, by bad people, right? So they disclose the vulnerability and release new versions. So there is a patch out. So, patch all your things. According to this, there you go. all Apache software is Java. I met somebody who had to deploy Apache Cloud Stack for a class project and did not have fun. My understanding is that they do have patches for this. Let me see. So you need. Yeah, they disclosed the vulnerability and released new versions of Active MQ on 25 October 2023. So this has actually been out for about 7 days, 8 days now. I think the oh my godness happened because Rapid7 and other organizations have seen active exploitation of this on on systems. I took a deep dive into MQTT brokers, so I didn't have to pay for laundry anymore. Wait, Age of Music. Do you mean like your washer and dryer IoT in your common area in your apartment complex, or is it like some kind of coin operated laundry joint? Oh, good for you, Age of Music. Thank you for still paying and being an ethical person. So maybe you can get some money from the bug bounty that the IoT device vendors have. So on-site laundry. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, exploit code and vulnerability details are both publicly available, which you can look at. I think it's yeah. Here's I would if you care about active, if you want to do the research, I would say clone that before it gets kicked offline. Also, be aware, just don't blindly run shit on your environment. So this is inside the protocol itself. So there, it's in a language I don't recommend understand, sadly. So, but you can, I guess you just run active mqrce -i and then the IP of the server or host, the server port 61616. 61616, yeah, and then the XML. So that will give you. I'm assuming because it's an IoT like message broker, and most IoT devices only know one user root. You'll be root access on some things. I suppose I could get some free laundry out of the deal. Yeah, yeah, you could do that. If you're I appreciate the ethicalness. I'm glad that it's like you could do it, but you decided not to. You know that that shows some good ethics. Age of Music. I appreciate you. By the way, Age of Music makes some great music, so go check out Age of Music's site. Uh, Age of Music, please, if you can, put your Bandcamp. I believe it's Bandcamp, or Spotify or whatever it is. Please feel free to drop that if you want to. I like it. It's good stuff. So yeah, there's some IOCs in here. Um, Hello Kitty is the ransomware group, so I don't know if they're new or if they're maybe they ran out of names or they just wanted to maybe somebody maybe the people who own Hello Kitty will sue them for IP infringement. Oh yeah, there you go, Spotify. There you go. Yeah, yep. Yeah, go get those. It's good stuff. Window bit. Yeah, it's good music there. So go. Yeah. Wow, you got 10 bits on there. So so yeah, go grab patches. At least there's patches for it. The indicators of compromise. Here's some IOCs. So you've got some IP blocks you can go and poke on. Here's some CMD commands. So if anybody tries running that, anybody start. I think you should light off if anybody has anything like this, because I would say 99% or better of your organization will never run this command. And if they do, you should probably investigate that, even if it isn't from this website. So wow, fantastic, Age of Music. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, check out that music. Yeah, 7 albums. Fantastic. Following hashes, of course, you can also do file hash compares, MSIs, DLL loaders, mitigation guidance. I don't know. Apache supplied updates. Apache also has information on improving the security MQT or active MQ implementations. Use something called Jazz for authentication. Jazz. The default JAS relies on standard JAS mechanism for authentication. Oh, good. Let's use Java for authentication. Seriously. Jazz. Yeah, jazz is great, man. Jazz. Never, yeah. No, you don't use anonymous access. Yeah, sorry, the reason I'm reporting on ActiveMQ is because I'm currently watching work as we have some kind of channel going on to find out whether or not we're affected by this. So if I absolutely, if I accidentally, drop immediately, it's because, shit's hit the fan and I now have to spend my Friday, because that's when things started getting ugly, to do something. Controlling access to temporary destinations. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff here on how to secure this stuff. So, if maybe you take Friday off, and then on Monday morning you go in and you start poking around. Remember, ActiveMQ may not necessarily be like top level. You're going to have to do like a library check. You're going to have to scan your repos, looking for things like MQ or ActiveMQ, depending on if your developers want to be cute and try to rename those things. There's also different options. My concern is, and what they say in the document here is, it's the protocol for open wire. And if there are other MQ, MQ message broker type things out there, so let's see, what is it? Active MQ alternatives. So there's Rabbit MQ, Zero MQ, Apache Rocket. There's Kafka if you use Apache. Apache's got a lot of garbage under their hood, don't they? Amazon MQ, Eclipse Mosquito. Interesting. They spell mosquito with two T's. IBM MQ. So if any of these use open wire protocol, they may also be vulnerable to this, because the article mentions specifically open wire protocol. So if they support that and they use the same open wire implementation, I wouldn't just go, oh, well, we don't use ActiveMQ, we're good. I would maybe look to see if you're using open wire in any case. Open wire implementations. Oh, good. It's also managed by Apache. Great. Open wires are cross-language wire protocol allowing native access to ActiveMQ. Is it used in other places? Yeah. See, so they have a specification. This is not the latest version. Yeah. Open wire in. Let me see. Open wire use in. Let me just pick a Rabbit MQ. What protocol? Okay, so what protocols do they support? They support Stomp, MQTT, AMQP, whatever, LMNOJ, XY, dub. So if a plugin for OpenWire became available for Rabbit MQ, or you're using it in some way, yeah, message queuing, telemetry transport, right. Oh, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, that's why they put two T's in mosquito, because they were being cute. It's cool. Let me see. Yeah, so there is an open wire, like open standard. So any of these MQTTs could be using that. But I would just say, don't be like, hey, we don't use ActiveMQ, we're good. You might have a Cisco box. You might have an open wall box. You might have some kind of infrastructure or gateway or something that uses it that you're not aware of. So, I would just, take a look and see what you got going on there. So let me see. What was the other one? Mosquito. MOSQUITTO. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I don't want to go too far into that, but if okay, so oh, here you go. Deploy and publish MQ using AWS or whatever. Is there a handy dandy repo of systems that uses certain protocols? I wished Age of Music. When libwebp came out, the only way I could figure out like what systems use libwebp, ironically enough, was to go look at like dependencies. I did a search for dependencies online, and I looked at Arch Linux. I think I showed this on our stream. It was like, when it's an open source tool, so other open source tools may use it, and that's where I was like, okay, so, and this was about the time where Google was like, we fucked up. It's not just in browsers. And it's like graphics magic, LibreOffice. So if you've got people like ultra hipsters using LibreOffice instead of Word or Google Docs or something, anybody using OpenCV. So it was like that was the only way I was able to efficiently say, hey, this doesn't just affect browsers. This affects mlib. It also affects anything with WebKit, so any headless servers, headless browsers you might be using in your environment, in Qt image formats, so any Qt 5 or 6. So it was like this was the only way I was able to do this, but I don't have any kind of good way of tracking that dependency for things like MQTT or what have you. So yeah, I mean, if yeah, that's why S bombs are trying to become more popular. Being able to track your dependencies and going, okay, look, we got brand new fancy Cisco kit. Okay, what are the libraries it uses? What are the ingredients in the in the cake? That kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, the cake didn't make me sick. It was the eggs that we used that were a week old that were left out in 80-degree temperatures. It's not the browser that's causing the problem. It's the libwebp function, which is called by this, which is called by this, which is called by this, or ffmpeg, for instance. Any IoT device that processes audio or video, or any device that uses it, or any media player that uses it, like VLC, for instance. VLC was vulnerable to libwebp because it uses ffmpeg, which uses libwebp. So that kind of thing. I wonder how much a system like that would be worth. If you could build, well, you're probably about 1 millionth in line because there's a bunch of companies working on SBOM kind of solutions, and it really depends on how granular you want to get. Some of them are like first level dependencies, but like for Log4j, if we'd had SBOMs back then, that's like a second or a third level dependency, and that was what got people a lot on that because once you get down, you've it's like a pyramid, right? It starts up at the top and you got a browser. It's like, okay, well, is the browser vulnerable? Yes, because it has this dependency, and now you've got, the browser has two dependencies, and those two dependencies have five dependencies or six dependencies, and those six dependencies have 15 dependencies, and it's like you build that all the way down. Um, and so, yeah, it's really, really difficult how far down you want to get on that S bomb. Are you going to go down, you know, 3, 4, 5 levels of magnitude on this? Because once you get down to, 3 or 4, it's almost like Kevin Bacon kind of stuff. How many degrees of separation are you from this library that's vulnerable up here to your piece of shit product you've created? And they tell their friends and their friends and so on. Yes, exactly. 100%. 100%. Um, so yeah, I mean, it really depends, and the more the deeper you go, the bigger that S bomb's going to get, and then it's like at some point people are like, yeah, I don't care if you're using get text or mlib or something like that, it's going to be value over time or whatever, and add to it if there's web apps, you've got Node packages and Python packages and your Pippin and your NumPys, and you've got all kinds of stuff. And is it like, are you worried about the debug builds, because the debug builds would have different packages versus the production builds, and it's like, which ones are you tracking? SDKs, you've got libraries. So it's a super complicated thing. I may have dabbled a little bit in some SBOM stuff as well. So, but yeah, there's no. I haven't seen a good way. And if there is a good way, you're paying for it. So because people are putting real resources against this there. So um oh, that's me. I'm streaming on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Hello everybody on LinkedIn, including maybe my boss. Um that's okay. I did some good work this week. I've been working up on some items at work and was able to accomplish things. My kryptonites, I don't want to call my kryptonite is actually working, but it's interesting. It's interesting working some of that thing. I don't know if it's more mindfulness and the medication, or is it just the medication. So at some point, this will get old hat enough, and then it'll be like, okay, I'm slipping back into something, or it really is the kryptonite helping out there. So yeah. So oh, I don't remember. Did I put the blog post for? I don't think I put the blog post for Rapid 7. Yeah, if you need some IOCs and TTPs, go check those out for the ActiveMQ thing. Let's go see what kind of fun other news stories we've got. Oh, good. Yet another, is this the same bug? Yeah, 22518. Yeah. There was another one for that one too. 21515 about a week and a half ago. Uh, this is a 9.1 out of 10. It's another critical vulnerability for Atlassian. So if you use Atlassian in your organization, hopefully you're not on-prem anymore and you're using the cloud version, because if you are, you're probably already patched. You just don't know it yet. Or you just are they have amazing failover and you haven't noticed any difference. So yeah, improper authorization, which is basically a weakness that allows an attacker to gain access to privileged functionality and data in the application. In this case, the attacker who exploits the vulnerability would be able to delete data on the Confluence instance or block access, but they would not be able to exfiltrate data. Oh, that's wow. Okay, thank God we won't be able to exfil a bunch of developer tickets. You just can't get access to the data because of your improper auth. So let's see, 24,000 Atlassian servers exposed to the internet because people are stupid. And again, this is go back to the CISO thing, right? CISO's got to explain to management, hey, Jira on the internet is bad. Okay. I don't know if they're using hand puppets or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how the CISOs are speaking to the board at this point, and what kind of relationship they have. I mean, we already have enough problems with CISOs who are answering to like CFOs and CIOs. They can delete the 10,000 tickets of me telling someone to turn it on and off again. Exactly. Exactly. Or they can delete the 10,000 tickets of all the minor issues the product teams don't want to fix because, they're low issues. And it's like, okay, yeah, those will be done in, heat death of the universe plus 5 years. So they did mention 515 down here, a maximum security broken access law bug. Atlassian only discovered the bug after some customers with publicly facing Confluence data center and server instances encountered the problem. Well, of course they encountered the problem. Can you imagine what it's like to have to manage a fucking Jira that is publicly facing? And it doesn't matter if the attacker was nation state or not. It doesn't. It doesn't matter one whit. I mean, the fact is, you're on the internet. Is there a reason for it? I'm sure some people believe there is. And but unless your connection, unless your configuration is super tight, you probably spend a lot of weekends biting nails and waiting by the phone for the next 22515 or 518 to come out. I wonder how many weekends knowing that those are questions that I really would like to answer when I go to interview for a CISO job. It's like, what do you have exposed to the internet? Oh, well, we got, we don't have anything. Everything's behind a firewall except for our Jira instance. Okay, bye. I'm gone. Bye. No talkie to you. it just, yeah, I couldn't be a CISO at a company that had things like that. It's like, oh yeah, we use Citrix and Cisco, and we have our Jira exposed to the internet, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just not gonna work here. Yeah, I'm gonna save you the trouble of sending me the dear applicant letter, and I'm just gonna withdraw. You can't pay me enough to want to work at a company that has that shit exposed. Age of music. Those are the soft questions you should be asking. Yes, yes. Um, when the job description says, "Oh yeah, must have experience with Atlassian," maybe you should ask them why. Um, well, of course, a hot dog is a sandwich. Got two pieces of bread with meat in the middle. I know the meme. I know the meme. See, even Merriam-Webster says definitively a hot dog is a sandwich. The definition of a sandwich is two or more slices of bread or a split roll having a filling in between. Done. Oh, Age of Music. Oh. Okay. Age of Music. Is a Philly cheesesteak a sandwich? And if not, what is it? Bread top, bread bottom, sandwich. Okay, so what happens? Okay. What happens if I cut the hot dog bun so that it is two pieces of bread, and then I stick the hot dog in the middle and smash it? Is the fact that the bread is connected in kind of like an envelope of love? Okay, so the connection is the problem, the hinge. Without a hinge, and you just have the bun part, that is a sandwich. But when it has a hinge, not a sandwich. Three side bread. That's okay. So the hinge is the problem. It hinges on the hinge. I get that. Okay. Okay. So there you go. RBG before she passed concluded a hot dog is indeed a sandwich. Sorry. Got to go with RBG here. May she rest in peace. Yeah. Yeah. So a Philly cheesesteak is a taco. Oh, hinge. Okay. So hinge profile. Oh shit. I didn't even make that connection. Okay. Okay. Euros are Greek tacos. I don't know. Okay. I'd be okay with that. I'm actually okay with the taco as a launch mechanism for food. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But so for you, the problem is if the bread is hinged, it's not a sandwich. I get it. Okay. Nobody's ever said that to me before, Age of Music. No, that is a perfectly valid way of saying what a sandwich is or isn't. I think that's fine. That sets some kind of parameters instead of just saying, okay, all bread with things in the middle is not a sandwich. Um, See, these are the debates that we need, and I'm more than willing to give on some things. Um, the problem is the contents of the hot dog haven't changed. Just the removal of the hinge classifies it differently. So it'd be like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like an animal or something like in the wild. It's like if you take off the crest of the bird, it's no longer a cardinal, it's a red bird, right? It was still a bird to begin with, right? But it was a specific kind of bird. Hey, Digital Warhead, what's up? Hey, D Dubs. Constraints. We can't live in anarchy. Yes, we've got to have some guardrails. So I completely understand. All right. It's interesting. So is could non could non, like a flatbread, be a pancake? Because a pancake is a flat bready substance. Yeah, we're engaging in meaningful, constructive debate instead of waging, wars over food. Um, yeah, so a pancake is also a non like flatbread. A pancake is a flatbread. Oh, son of a! Did I really mess that up? Ah, oh, son of a bitch! I didn't save that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, D Dubs. Yeah, I said it's been a week, no rest today. Let's get talking. Crap. Yeah, I. Uh, yeah, I did that. I screwed that up. That's probably why nobody showed up. They're like, "Dumbass! It's Saturday. It's Sunday. He should know better." I'll have to fix that on YouTube. So that's what I was supposed to say. It's been a week, no rest today. Let's get talking. Um, I am. I've done my due diligence. I'm not gonna engage on this right now. Jesus. Okay. Trying to skip my weekend before it even starts. Well, this was from last Sunday because I think I effed it up on Tuesday as well. And I think I only recorded for like 10 minutes and then something bad happened. But um, yeah, so we're talking about so digital warhead. You saw the thing with this. We just got done ranting about the CISO stuff, but I'd be interested in figuring in understanding your thoughts on that. Did you've heard about the issues with the CISO Tim Brown over there? Do you want to be a CISO now? Has that changed your ideas? Age of Music. How about you? Would you want to be a CISO now, knowing the complex environment, or does it depend on the company? Oh, digital. Okay, so you've not heard about the SEC actively investigating the CISO of SolarWinds? That's not it. That's the wrong link. Okay. SolarWinds. Tim Brown. Yeah, there we go. It's not the original doc. It was actually a dark reading document. Oh, looks like Becky Bracken just copied the dark reading article. So there you go. Oh no, I'm sorry. Urgent Communications copied the dark reading article. Yeah, there we go. Visit dark reading. Doink. I think my journey into CS is going to be focused on protecting the vulnerable. Locks are there to keep honest people honest. I can't be bothered to protect some rich motherfucker's money. That is very true. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I love the fact that we have so many different facets to information security. Uh, I wish it was easier for people to get into information security. I still see that there's opportunities. I don't know. I don't know if I would have been able to get into information security in this day and age, because you almost need to be a programmer or have some programming knowledge at this point to do things like automation, because you're just constantly, you know, redoing a bunch of shit over and over again, and that really lends itself to automation, which is why you know we have hacker tools that will automate the crap for us, so that way we're not spending 2 hours trying to get a shell. We just run this Metasploit script, and we've got it in like 2 seconds. Right, determined actors are always going to find a way. Yeah, that's all anybody can ask. Yeah, there's that phrase. Everyone's like, security has to be right every time. Bad guy only has to be right one time. I just, and that's why we're turning to things like AI to help us with that, and detection mechanisms. That stuff costs money, whether it be time, resources. Resources are something that you have to balance that between putting out a product and protecting the back end on that. I mean, yeah. Oh, that was the one. So those of you who own homes, Mr. Cooper was hit today in a cyber attack. Actually saw that on Slack, which I don't know if Mr. Cooper's our mortgage lender here for this house in San Diego, but I'm almost certain that our mortgage was sold eventually to Mr. Cooper in Seattle. So, yeah, Dallas-based mortgage loan servicer and originator, millions of customers hit in a cyber attack. Formerly known as Nathan Star Mortgage, said a third party gained access to certain technology systems. It launched an investigation, is working to restore systems as soon as possible. I would actually be surprised if people wouldn't hack into those systems and delete those records and backups as a way to make it possible for people to get out of their mortgages or their home loans, or not home loans, student loans, or whatever other loans they might have. So that was interesting. 4.3 million customers. Company originates funded more than 12,000 loans from July to September. So there are a lot of people, and the bad thing about the loan companies is they have everything. They have everything. They have your address, phone number, socials, signatures. A lot of them now use things like DocuSign. I think the one we just bought this house in Texas that my wife bought the house in Texas, and we paid cash for it, so there was no lending needed. But title companies are also companies that should be super vigilant about their security, because they have so much information that it's very painful if they were to get owned. So again, if our stuff has been leaked, yet another loss of nothing, because, well, maybe in the last 5 years, but nothing much has changed for my privacy. I don't have any more. All of my information is mostly public, or will be in some kind of data set somewhere in some bad guy's hard drive somewhere. But yeah, so if you have Mr. Cooper as your mortgage company currently, you may have already gotten an email, or you will get an email, and you'll probably get some identity protection, free year credit monitoring. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, I saw that one on our Slack today. I think Cybuck, actually, no, is it Cybuck? Might be Mr. Matthews had posted that one up. So let me see. Yeah, it's a lot of bad. So, Age of Music, I appreciate you wanting to continue into security. My concern is, don't let the negativity get you down. There are a lot of hey, Lady P. No, Lady P, I love you, man. Love you, Lady P. I just got really like wanting to stream and didn't get to do that on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and just wanted to get started. So, yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff. Lady P, let me ask you a question, because you are fairly hot. Don't you knock? Oh my hell! You want to get up here? You want to say hello? You want to say hello? You've had a big week. You should say hello. Meow. No. Meow. What do you want? Well, get up here. Come on. I'll make magic fingers. No. Meow. Meow. Well, get up here. Come on. Come on. People want to see you. You're famous. Look at you. Yes, she was my overseer this week when we renovated the backyard. She was brave enough to get up, so and to go and watch them work. That's my mama kitty. Aren't you pretty? You're pretty, mama. Yes, you are. You smell like fabric softener. Where you been? Under blankie? Been hiding? Hmm? So yeah, she her kids don't take well to strangers being in the house, but she was hanging out in the kitchen looking out our brand new patio back door because we used to have a sunroom that was an add-on to the house, and there was a patio, like a sliding door into the sunroom, and so now we have a bigger yard, or what is a bigger yard. So I taught it. Taught put it. Yes, yes, yes. Mama kitty. Mama kitty. Mama kitty is my beautiful baby. Um, yes, you're popular. Yes, yes, yes. Um, but yeah. So it's been a very busy week. I gave out a bunch of expensive checks. I'm still trying to get my car fixed because Mercury Insurance wants to not reply or send email messages. So my car's still front end busted, and I'm working on that. So pilot union hit with ransomware. You were about to ask me a question, Lady P. Oh yes, Lady P. Sorry, I did digress a bit. My 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. And yeah, that's about the end of my kryptonite. I think my kryptonite's gone. So you must have seen the discussion about CISO being prosecuted by the SEC from SolarWinds. I was wondering if we could get for the cat so rudely interrupted. That's right. She has priority. You know that. Um, as a senior official or management person at your company, what was your thoughts on the SEC filing charges against Tim Brown, the CISO of SolarWinds? Yes, yes, Age of Music read my mind. Yes. We had to expect that was coming. Chief Scapegoat. Ah, okay, so Scapegoat. Um, yeah, I had tried to. I don't want to say downplay it, and again, I don't work for SolarWinds, but it was you can only do so much, right? You can only tell people, hey, it's bad. I think I had mentioned online about if you aren't a team player and you're the CISO and you come in and everything you talk about is doom and gloom and FUD, not FUD, but if everybody considers what you bring in and talk about with risk management as FUD, or you're not a team player, or hey, we should block you from doing X, Y, Z, and you're seen as a problem, you as the security and risk person, you rarely come in with good news. And yeah, that it feels like that. If you're a CISO or a chief anything, you must keep good documentation that can be confused with extortion material. It's funny. I take a lot of screenshots at work, and somebody made the joke that I'm an e-discovery nightmare because if they ever did e-discovery on my laptop for any reason, there's about I just got rid of from December 20 or January 20th to like 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, I deleted 1,400 screenshots of various communications on Slack and what have you. But it was like I had 1,400 screenshots in there, and it was, just stuff because it's like I don't want to have to sum up a long conversation I had with somebody when I can post two screenshots and they can just read what the hell these people said. Or based on a discussion I had with somebody, I can paste that into a Jira ticket and say, based on this conversation I had with this person, this ticket is closed, or this ticket is unhealthy because it doesn't have a plan, or it doesn't have a deadline, or anything like that. So if someone needs to fire me, that's fine. Pay me and I'll go away quietly. Say whatever you want. If someone wants me to swing, I need to be able to remind them that I can point someone at where the bodies are. Yeah. Earlier I had said that you're no longer a security person when you're a CISO. You're a risk person, right? And um, I would argue that you definitely whether you want to or not, you stop being like a true security person, and you're just almost like legal for the company. You're covering for risk management stuff. Oh, cool. All right. So yeah, dig your holes in advance. Yeah. You you definitely if as a I would say as a CISO, you're going to want to take a lot of screenshots, and I would like to think I would be ethical in this point. I wouldn't have been the Uber CISO. I wouldn't have been SolarWinds CISO. Um, Jake Williams did make a good point of sometimes you'll say things that Joe Bob Billy says we conform to all these things. Well, no, PR and marketing said that because saying, hey, we partially do these things or we do some of these things, or maybe the CISO, depending on the relationship the CISO has with the rest of his org down below, maybe it's not a good. Maybe when I worked as a consultancy for hospitals, my boss told me there's the way it's documented, the way people expect it's being done, and then what's really happening. And it's like CISO maybe that, hey, we're completely 100% NIST certified, NIST frameworked and all this stuff. When in fact, maybe the communication between his lower rank and upper rank aren't isn't completely truthful, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe not every CISO is well loved by the security organization underneath them. So maybe you have that problem. So yeah, this would be one of those things where after Tim, whatever happens to Tim, ever goes to RSA, it would be completely off the record kind of thing. Hey, let's go have an adult beverage and talk about that in real life and say, get the skinny and understand that shit, on the side, and, completely off the record. And I'd be like, okay, be enlightening. Maybe he wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know. But yeah, so um, 10 years after the data breach that got me hired and ultimately promoted from CISO to CISO, or CIS, a CIO, our security is back to being trash. Bothers me every day. I'm loud about it, and I have documentation to prove it. I'm not so young and idealistic I'm going to hang for it. Yeah, I mean, there's going to come a point where you'd be like, I just document my stuff. I'm just going to, when it hits the "I told you so" moment, then it's gonna be like that. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a rough business, and some people can be a CISO, and some it doesn't work out so well. So, um, we're just at the 1 hour 30 minute mark. Yeah, I plan on doing some Rust today, but like I said, I didn't get to stream earlier this week. I'm in a somewhat degraded status because none of my lights work. My lights work, but I don't have any power in the house. You can go back and listen to the VOD at the beginning if you want to find out all the fun details for that. Don't mess with a mathematician. I can game theory. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Uh yeah, I need yeah, kind of rough. Kind of rough. Uh, you want to be a CISO, and it's something like you're like, oh, when I get up there I can actually make a difference, and oh, I can't understand why people act this way around, once I get that high, it's different shit, right? It'll be different shit that you got to deal with on that respect. So your problems now will pale in comparison to what happens up there. And I've known a few CISOs that I've been like, wow, that person really saved me a lot of work. Mike Convertino, who was the CISO at CrowdStrike and then became the CISO of Twitter and is now, I believe, in private practice, because like um, Williams said, or like the CISO on that article said, they're not being CISOs, they're being vendor CISOs. So they're being the you hire this person as a CISO and you're going to pay out the ass for their knowledge and experience. Ultimately, they're not legally responsible, or they'll have malpractice insurance. Maybe we need a malpractice insurance for like a CISO. You know, it works for doctors, right? If you do something wrong and you get sued, this is going to cover whatever damages that happen under your malfeasance or what have you. Further you get from your last data breach, the lower value is placed on the risk. Yeah, that's why don't waste a crisis. You get carte blanche if you can. I would say probably 48 to 72 hours. You can pretty much ask for anything at that point. Counter Strike one last match fallacy. I've seen that one. Exactly. Oh, good. Google Play will add security audit badges for Android VPN apps. Great. Secured with SSL. Unhackable. What are they going to put? Like unhackable? What does the badge look like? Like those websites that used to have secured with SSL. That's fun. We were just talking about that the other day. Yeah. On the other hand, in other news, there's a ton of VPN apps apparently. This badge indicates the app's compliance with the MASA standard. Okay, so MASA, Mobile App Security Assessment, as an initiative of the App Defense Alliance to define a concrete set of requirements for mobile app security. Oh, okay. System credential storage facilities used to store sensitive information. No sensitive data should be stored outside app containers. No sensitive data is written to app logs. Okay. Keyboard cache is disabled on sensitive data inputs. Oh my God. Okay, that's cool. It's not really a security badge per se. It's just promising the only place your PII is leaking to is Google, who then gets to redistribute it anonymously. That's true. Hopefully they're de-anonymizing it. So de-anonymizing it. I can't say it twice. I'm not gonna. So let me see. I've never heard of these folks before. See, that's the other thing. Is like, who the hell are these folks, and why are they? Oh, are they OWASP folk? Let me see. Maybe they're an OWASP. Yeah, maybe. Tokenization. They're absolutely de-anonymizing. That's the problem with anonymous PII. Yep. Yeah, and they can take your data and then follow you around. So MASVS level 1 requirements. Okay. Your MASA assessment, reaching out to the lab partners to initiate testing. Interesting. Okay, so you have a VPN app. This is very similar to something I did back in the day for a similar company. Oh. Interesting. So what's going to happen is you have a VPN app, and Google says, okay, if you want to be in the Play Store, you're going to have to go here to talk to one of these companies to get an assessment to get your badge. This is very similar to Google OAuth flows review. So there was back a few years ago, Google was working on reducing best practices, OAuth reviews. Here we go. So somebody had posted up some stuff here, but they did something similar. So certain OAuth flows that are being used by Google to read email, or if you're using a system like what's that automation platform? I forget. But you had to go through a similar system, whereas like you had to be evaluated by a company based on certain criteria to get your ability to operate, your ATO, if you will. for that. Someone in infosec on the Twitters is using that Ask Me Anything Not Gonna Lie website. Not Gonna Lie, NGL. I asked them if they had read the privacy policy on that thing. Yeah, so let's go see what kind of information they're asking for this. Scope the security assessment, gather documents and information for the assessment, pre-assess the setup of the infrastructure and accounts, execute the security assessment, generate a report, support remediation efforts, retest. Yes, this is very similar to something that I remember back in the day. Yes. How much does it cost? Yes. 1 year. So every year you have to recertify your app. Okay. The assessment will review a subset of testable level 1 MAS VS's requirements based on GitHub. Scope of the assessment's client-side security, authentication to the backend or cloud service, and connectivity to the backend cloud service, looking at general security and privacy best practices. This isn't completely awful. I have had experience with the very similar assessment system. I will. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm just dorking this up. So yeah, here we go. So this was the article I was looking at in Bleeping Computer. Y'all got to keep me honest here. So this is for the Android VPN apps. So they are creating a concrete requirement for mobile app security, and they're going through third parties to do that. So yeah, they're also required to perform an audit from an approved cybersecurity partner. So these 6 companies, there you go. See, this would have made more sense with my facial expressions earlier when I was mentioning that. I may or may not have worked for one of these, and I may or may not have interviewed for one of these organizations as well. So that's interesting. So they have 6 pen testing firms, or security assessment firms, we'll call them. Nah, I don't like the term pen testing anymore. And some of the questions that they ask here, for, when you go to do this, you have to, 3. The problem with this is it may not cost $3,000 to $6,000 to assess your mobile VPN app. That is not a lot of money. So either Google is, with my industry experience of knowing how much people charge per hour at a pen testing firm, that is not a lot of money for a mobile app test. That is nothing, as a matter of fact, in many cases. How long does the process take? 10 days. So 10 days, 3 to 6K per. I'm guessing it feels like Google may be subsidizing this with the companies in that list. I can't confirm that. I'm not going to. That's the best I can speculate. But $3,000 to $6,000 for a 10-day engagement. Nope. That's yeah. No. Oh, okay. No. Age of Music. It's definitely not a mobile. It's definitely not a Nessa scan. I pride myself on being somewhat. I don't want to say loyal, but I have worked at Leviathan Security Group, and I know some folks from Bishop Fox, and I know folks at NCC Group. I don't know these other 3 companies, but I have worked with folks at Bishop Fox and NCC Group. I know it's yeah, but I just want to I don't want to be seen as continuing the trope, but I'm going to say that they're staking their reputation on doing this right, and if a mobile application VPN application gets through and it's hot garbage, or they don't do their due diligence and they find out that data after they has been approved by one of these 6 companies is being funneled to God knows where, you live and die by these kinds of things, especially yes, Lady P. Reputational damage for a company, very little. I don't want to call Bishop Fox a big company. NCC Group's fairly good size, but like Leviathan, I don't know these companies. I can't imagine they're all that large. but you live and die by these things. And I have worked on every side of the security assessment relationship. Uh, I've even I've even evaluated third parties for companies to say, okay, yeah, this was a good pen test. This was a shitty pen test. You just spent $50,000 on a Nessa scan. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Leviathan is huge. It's right there in the name. Yes, 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 yes. The other one is psychic. Yeah, prescient security. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting engaging with something of this size because I mean that just shows you the need for this system. That's how many VPN solutions there are, and it's like it's interesting if they're going to have to look through all of these things. So each one of these is going to have to be demonstrated in some way. Data is encrypted on the network using TLS, proper TLS, not like the ability to downgrade to no cipher or some shit like that. TLS settings are in line with current best practices. I don't like that one. I would have said yeah, you're going to use in line with best practice as long as best practices TLS 1.3 with no like with full handshake or some shit like that. So um, yeah, app is signed and provisioned with a valid certificate. App has been built in release mode. Oh, okay. Debugging symbols have been removed from native binaries. Oh yes, 100% on that one. Debugging code and developer assistance code have been removed. 100%. Yeah, exactly. No downgrade type attacks. No ability to support SSL v3. No, like I only speak SSL v3. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you then. Yeah, you can't have that. You cannot have that. Security features offered by the tool chain are activated. So yeah, these are great. These are actually pretty good. You might also want to look at implementing these things in your own environment. So, hmm, okay, there we go. Boink. So yeah, these are updated as of version 1.5 in July of last year. So no change to OWASP version or MASTG 1.4. Can anyone point me to a single instance of TLS1 being reversed at scale, even by government? Um, yeah, I get your point, Lady P. I do. Um, I think it would depend on the connection, right? If it was any kind of RC4 or something like that, I think there are demonstrated attacks depending on that type of cipher. If they were using an RC4 cipher on TL, you can use RC4 on TLS, right? TLS1 RC4 cipher. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, you can use it in solution to mitigating the attacks enable TLS1 or 1.2 and in browsers. So I guess SSL v3, or you could use those old on older browsers. I'm hoping at some point OpenSSL will make the announcement of, hey, we're gonna get rid of old shit in our in our binaries. We're not going to support that. If you want to support that, then you have to build your own version with the idea that you are fully aware of what's going on and you're culpable if you decide, hey, we really need TLS 1.0 in our load balancers, and we're going to run this version or this library of OpenSSL that opens us up to this kind of issue. Um, I just wish there was more like culpability. Is culpability the right answer here? Right question. It would be like OpenSSL's like, yeah, we're not going to support your shitty, old ass implementations anymore. You're going to have to, build your own version. So either upgrade or die, or upgrade or manage your own shit. We use a flat network, no 2FA. But damn, we're TLS 1.3. Yeah, exactly. Lady P, you have no idea. I just ran into this the other day where, let me see how I can phrase this. We got something that reminded me of my work at another company, and it was fairly minor, but it came from somebody who expects expected a response in this case. And yeah, it wasn't a flat network, but it was like the one that made me deja vu was someone had said, what was it? What's Qualys' site for testing SSL connections? TLS configs. I forget what the name of it is. I hated that fucking site. SSL Labs. Yeah. So you go in to a site like this, and if you go, Google.com. So you go into Google.com, they get a B. The company that I worked for, somebody would send an email saying, "Hey, I noticed that your site is a C minus or is a C," and it would get sent to somebody who. It's more like when they send an email, it's like you hop, because you're told to jump, and you would spend all day trying to fix a relatively minor issue because it uses, we have support for an older cipher or something like that, and it was like you spent hours trying to fix, going from a B to an A minus or an A plus or something like that. And it was like, was this really necessary? Right? Like this. Yeah, this server supports TLS 1.0 and 1.1. And you would get an email from somebody higher up and they would say, why does our site only do this? We need to only support TLS 1.3. And it was like, because not everybody's using the most latest things. And so we would have to spend all day and several meetings talking about that stuff. And that happened this week. So yeah. Bugs me that auditors freak out about the TLS version, but rarely paying any attention to the things that actually get you owned, like opening mail attachments. It's it's fun. Again, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the my story, and the other thing is we've got some process changes. They're gonna be coming up because of this last issue where it was like, hey, why is it doing this? And it's like, we spent all day explaining this to a bunch of people, and I think at last count we started out with 3 people on the email thread, and by the end of the first day there was over 50 people on the email thread, including PR people like, oh, how should we respond to this? We're like, we don't, because nobody's asked the question yet. You can create some reactive messaging if you'd like, but don't send it because nobody cares. So yeah, you run into all kinds of shit like that. Welcome to security, where the bad guys don't have to go to eight freaking meetings today. I'm stuck at 90 on my site. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, goodness. These are great, though. I mean, you could definitely use this. It's reactive, sorry. You could definitely use these for test cases or for QA kind of things. This is where I was like, hey, QA should be like an extension of security in some cases. You can give them QA tests that they could run to go, hey, do you have minimum number of permissions? Are you able to run things? Have you removed your debugging symbols? If you can give them QA test cases or something that they can use to automate the testing and go, okay, MSTG code 5. Okay, we've ran through all of these passed, hey, look, I'm more that the other thing about that test SSL Labs thing, I would go in because I'd like to try to keep ahead of this as the security person. I would have to go in and they're like, okay, when you do that, click the do not show results on the boards because we don't want anything to show up on here. It looks like this thing here, and so yeah, it was pretty funny. freeopenvpn.org. That sounds like a where site. Tick 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 tick. Yeah, and of course I was using was it testssl.bin or testssl.sh, which is a nice batch script that you could use. I've been using this forever. I highly recommend this if you don't want to use something like testssl, because to be fair, do you really want Qualys to be banging on your system like this? Or potentially accidentally showing this stuff on your screen. You can use something like this, which is really great for figuring out these kinds of this kind of output. This is really nice. The output that it gives you, telling you about null ciphers, or Diffie-Hellman, or 50 or 40 40 or 56-bit encryption. If you're using other things like that, it will tell you about your fingerprint, your serial common name. It's a great site. Dr. Wetter, I think, is the person using it. So, but yeah, this is a great tool to use internally. If you don't want to use something like if you don't want Qualys accidentally sending you garbage. So, golden doodle and whatever. Anyway, so I don't know. So they give you testing procedures for. Oh man, this is a gold mine. If you have mobile apps, I think you could probably use this not just for VPN tools, but for mobile apps as well. That's awesome. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Age of Music. It runs in Bash. I think it runs. I don't think it runs as root. You may have to run it as root, but yeah, you can use it to interrogate your sites if you need to. So that's pretty cool. They got testing for analyses and things. Check manifest for read write external permissions for Android. I don't know how this works for iOS, but good stuff. Good stuff. Functions and classes. So this is good documentation, good write up. If you more complicated effort to store XORed halves of a key instead of static private key. Instead of the static private final string composite equals whatever, you might want to use something like this. So they give you code examples of how to store things more correctly or more securely. This is great. This is fantastic. Good job, OWASP. Oh, by the way, our friend of the show, Kevin Johnson, from Secure Ideas, got elected to the board of OWASP. So congratulations, Kevin. I'll tell him I sent him a shout out at 1:55 on the stream here. Check my home server. I do not even want to check if my Synology was working. I wouldn't even want to check that web server. That would scare the shit out of me using testssl.sh for that. I've had that for years back when it was like first set up, and then when you first do the initial setup, they're like, "Hey, would you like to be able to access your stuff anywhere in the world?" I'm like, nope. And thankfully, that's come back to make me feel real smug every time I see a Synology issue where they're like, "Oh, remote code exec, unauthorized remote code exec if you're on uncloud," and I was like, "Ugh, gross." So, I've been looking for so not to shift gears here, but I've been using SyncThing for a while. SyncThing, which is a decentralized file sharing tool. It's effective because I like to put things on my phone, and they have an app for the mobile device and Windows and Linux and Mac and whatever, and it's worked great for years. The problem is I upgraded to 125.0, and then all of a sudden I can't see anything on the network. I can't connect to anything on the network. And I have it installed right now, and everything's blue, but it's like after the upgrade, nothing works. I can't, I tried to add my new laptop, or the new install of Windows 11 on my laptop, and it doesn't work. I recently read into that Turkish escort thing with Cloudflare. Ugh. Should I turn off the browser first if I probably shouldn't do a search for Turkish escort with the screen running. Hopefully my wife's not looking. What the hell are you doing looking at Turkish escorts? Honest, honey. Age of Music said it was in a story. Okay. It's a neat story. How about the okay. See, I don't do Eurovision. As a matter of fact, I've blocked that hashtag on Twitter because it's just okay. So Cloudflare security expert reveals attempted cyber attack on Eurovision in 2012. Oh, okay. So it's an older story, sir, but it checks out. Boss of Internet Security Cloudflare revealed the voting platform for Eurovision came under attack in 2012. According to BBC, company founder Matthew Prince. Oh, I may have to take this. This may be my insurance adjuster. I will be right back. Sorry, y'all. Okay, this is really weird. This person calls me from a 619 number, which is San Diego, and just said, "Hey, are you the owner of a Tesla?" It does not sound like the insurance adjuster, and there's a lot of noise and music going on in the background that sounds very foreign. I'm assuming it's a suspicious phone call for somebody who's trying to socially engineer me. Hmm. Interesting. I saw that you can't. I saw your stream. I saw your tweets. Let me get the open mod interface and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Uh, yeah, that's interesting because it's declining spam call from a 310 number. See, I get really if you're not in my address book, I don't answer the phone. But I do know that I'm trying to be I'm waiting for an insurance adjuster to hit me up. I got into an accident last Friday. Well, I didn't get into an accident. My car did. It was sitting parked in a parking lot at the gym, and somebody hit my car. And so I've called the business truck, the truck that hit me, their business insurance called Mercury Insurance, who gave me the number for an adjuster. And I should have probably not answered the phone, but for some reason, that person sounded very not American and then immediately said, "Are you the owner of a Tesla?" Thank God the audio was really bad because I just asked them to call me back and they haven't done so yet. So I'm going to continue on. Maybe if he calls me when I have time to give him more shit, I'll do that. Anyway, so 2012 company discovered 150 Turkish escorts had signed up to Cloudflare after their websites came under attack from a conservative group that strongly disapproved of their activities. Later that year, Cloudflare clients were attacked, the digital voting platform of the Eurovision Song Contest. The BBC article notes that the mystery cyber attackers turned out to be strangely familiar. Interesting. Okay. Matthew Prince. Why does that name sound familiar? Matthew Prince. Huh. Eurovision is owned by Matthew Prince. I want to say he does something else, but actually, yeah, Digital Warhead. I was surprised too. I think the person actually goes to the gym that I go to. I actually had told the person I was like, I thank you for not running off because that it does show some integrity. So I managed to get that person's driver's license number and their driver's license. I took a photo of that, and it was a company vehicle, so they have insurance. They have very little damage to their car, whereas the front, my car looks like it's got a black eye. So, CEO of Cloudflare. That's why it sounds familiar. Okay. Eurovision was the last time Turkey competed before withdrawing from the contest. Interesting. I don't know who Laureen is, whatever. Ooh, something smells good. Is it Mama? Is she cooking? What are you doing back here? Oh, I see. I see. Well, I've got some meatballs for lunch for dinner. I'll probably have some meatballs. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Meow, meow. Exactly. Uh huh. Uh huh. Right. You want me to get off the stream and go so you can sit on my chest? All right. Well. Uh huh. Uh huh. I get that, but Lady P's on, and so is Age of Music and Digital Warhead. Oh my, that's a filthy mouth you got on you. Oh my God, you got a filthy mouth on you, Mama Kitty. My goodness. They evaluated the correlation in the type of attacks, and it turned out to be the same guy. Oh, okay. So somebody really likes Eurovision from Turkey and was trying to fix the contest. Where's Alf? I heard they're rebooting that. I don't know if he, oh, that's rough. I do remember that trope. That was a little weird. So yes, it's good that Alf could eat something other than cat. So that was nice. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot he was trying to eat the family's cat. So it's really weird. Yeah. So somebody really likes Eurovision, wanted Turkey to win. That's unfortunate because they got caught. They describe the attack in more detail. All right, let's go read something real instead of the garbage one. So Eurovision was taken down with a DDoS. They brought it back online. 1956, really? Oh my God. Okay, I did not realize that Eurovision was a huge thing. Um, what do you want? Oh my God. Yeah, I just I don't get it. I'm sure Eurovision is great. I watched The Voice, so I don't know why I'm out on Eurovision. Maybe it's just the rabidness of it, and it's just all that seems to be on the internet. Yeah, I was gonna say the entire region stops for it. Yeah, I watched The Voice. Watch The Voice. It's fun to watch the production on that. What? It's fun to watch the production on that where you're like, okay, yeah, that half they picked these people because half of them suck, and they can't say that, but half of these people are going to go home. So we got hit with the DDoS last month. Cloudflare didn't even flinch. We get 3 or 4 a year. Yeah, I think we talked about some of the new DDoS attacks that they're doing as well. That HTTP 2 one where you can send hundreds of requests to cause resource exhaustion. That was one that came out last month. Uh, Resource exhaustion. Yeah, reflect. Yeah. The fast reset vulnerability. Yeah, this one. Ugh. Yeah, resource consumption attack. Um, yeah, here, this one here. 2023 44487. Yeah. Quick allows a denial of service because you send the request and you immediately kill it. And then, yeah. Slow Loris, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a ton of discussion on that one as well. Problem is, they're just using the spec, right? Because nobody would ever want to do that. Well, yeah, they do if they want to cause you some kind of issue. Um, but, yeah. So, you love daddy. I just imagine a bunch of little ladies to call. That's true. We had less than 10 minutes of downtime. Cloudflare kept us up while we patched servers. That's pretty awesome. Um, it's good that Cloudflare's kind of got it down to a science now. They their ability to again, they're not a sponsor of the stream or the show, but it's good to see how far they've come on that because they're seeing stuff in the terabyte per second range. So I need some some help with? Are you falling down a canyon and typing? Is that what? No, no, just kidding. I need some help. What? Try to be funny. No, she doesn't like my humor. All right. Um, well, I'm super late on that. I think I'm gonna go. Unless anybody else got something to talk about, any topics we want to discuss, I'm more than open to talk about some stuff. It's only 4:17, so normally I'm just getting into the swing of things. But um, let's see. LinkedIn doesn't play nice with me. You can't leave. You were the one who wanted. Well, I'm sorry, Lady P. I found myself feeling accomplished, and I was like, well, since I didn't do anything for you fine people on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I would come on and do it again. So, um, yeah, been on a little longer than normal. Next week, let's see. I actually have to go on site next week. Um, that's okay. Yeah, get your nap in. Napping is great. Allows you to stay up at night when small hours. And I have to actually go on site Thursday and enjoy it's free dinner actually. Some coworkers will be coming down to San Diego for an event, and I'm going to hang out with them and get free lunch, free dinner. So we covered CISO, AppSec, some Volns, hot dogs. Yes, we definitely talked about hot dogs. Lady P, what's your thought? Hot dog sandwich or not? Lady P, sandwich or not? Oh, well, okay. No comment. You're still nine. Wait, what's the 1%? Is it bacon? Is it you like bacon? I'm a vegetarian except for bacon. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, it was good times. Chicken. Oh, okay. I had to add some chicken back. Oh, you know what? There's a lot of good for chicken. We actually talked about that today on the Slack. We were talking about the rotisserie chickens from Costco. Um, we actually, well, sometimes we get the rotisserie chickens from Costco, but then we get the rotisserie chicken packs. So I guess when they figured out, hey, we don't want to throw out all these chickens, the meat's still good. So they put it in these, you know, plastic packs that we use for things like tacos or soups or casseroles or something. And it's just rotisserie chicken that's frozen. We put it in our freezer and they freeze really well. And then when we get it out, we shred it with some, Wolverine claws and works out really well. Um, Being vegan since the 70s. Oh, that's a shame. That's pretty cool. Um, I guess if the chicken is probably the most likely one to use. I mean, you could be pescatarian, I guess, if you wanted to, unless you don't want to deal with the mercury or whatever from the bottom feeders or what have you. Um, Chicken's probably the best. Yeah, I would say chicken. Um, Even though you have to watch out where you're getting it from. So. Fish. Yeah, my wife's actually allergic to a lot of seafood. I enjoy seafood. I love me a cocktail, shrimp cocktail on a good day. I love fish tacos. Um, uh, San Diego's known for their fish tacos. Jacques Pepin, huevos rancheros. Yeah, there you go, Jacques Pepin. Wait a minute, I'm gonna make some of them Jacques Pepin huevos rancheros tonight. Let's go see what that's about. Copy. Eggs and pepper boats. That's not what I'm talking about. Eggs poblano. Eggs and pepper boats. Okay. Oh wow! Look at that. He's taking a green pepper and putting an egg in it. That's kind of cool. Huh. Okay. One large pepper will serve one or two depending on how hungry you are. It's one. Actually, I probably need more because I just straight numb on that. I just have roasted chicken breasts in my salad, toss in enough mushrooms, and I can't tell it. Yeah. No, that's great. I love mushrooms. I actually learned how to enjoy mushrooms with my wife. When I first met her, I was like, "Yeah, I'm out on mushrooms and Brussels sprouts." And she's like, "You just haven't eaten them properly. They haven't been prepared properly." So we we ovened up some Brussels sprouts with some Parmesan on them, or we do like asparagus was another one. It was like asparagus with lemon, a little salt and pepper. Beautiful thing. Oh no, Lady P, I love me some Brussels sprouts. Oh, I was like you. When you get older, you'll start to enjoy Brussels sprouts, Lady P. I love you. I love you, Lady P. No, I grew up with the cruciferous were something that I tended to shy away from. Cauliflower, broccoli, the green stuff. Yeah, Brussels sprouts I was not a fan of. And then it was like, oh, you cut them in half, you broil them in the oven, put a little Parmesan on them, and just a straight numb on that stuff. That's okay, Lady P. You know what? You do you. That leaves more for me. I will eat the Brussels sprouts that you do not eat. Yeah. So. Kale used to be the stuff that they put around the salad buffets, and then somebody realized, hey, if you put it in the oven and burn it to a crisp, uh, that is one thing I cannot eat. The kale chips, no, can't do it. Can't do it. I will cook up a mess of greens like nobody's business, but I cannot eat kale chips. Those just it's like ash in my mouth. Can't do it. But I love me some broccoli. I love some Brussels sprouts. Yeah, big fan. Big fan. Oh, you don't like the cruciferous stuff there, you go, Lady P. That's the problem, yeah. Um yeah, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage. Yeah, the cruciferous yep. Yep. I'm triple casting this on LinkedIn, so this is probably awesome content for a professional social network. Oh, I love broccoli. I can eat it raw. Gives me wins a little bit. But that's okay. But yeah, I eat Brussels sprouts. I eat the broccoli and the cauliflower. I can eat it raw, like out of a crudité platter or something like that, any day of the week. So it's really good. Um, yeah, that looks good. I like that pepper boat idea. That looks nice. Maybe I'll forward that. Pasillas. Oh, I thought they were green chilies. These are pasillas or poblanos. Okay, interesting. Yeah, olive oil, water. Okay. Salt, grated cheddar cheese. Okay, maybe 4 eggs. Okay, that's it's a good bit of protein. I do hard boiled eggs in the morning. Fucking Chat GPT gave me the perfect like how to make a perfect boiled egg because like most people you boil the eggs and then you drain them and then you try to you end up losing a lot of the outer white part. I don't know how, but Chat GPT gave me a perfect boiled egg the other day. Fucker, hate that stuff. It was actually a legitimate use of Chat GPT, which is great. So, but yeah, turn the peppers hollow side up and sprinkle with cheese. Crack an egg into each one and sprinkle with the rest of the salt and some freshly ground pepper. Turn to the stove, cook. So these are almost like a sunny side up, but yeah. Oh, it'd be good under those little chorizo. I would do horrible, horrible things for chorizo and eggs right now. Horrible things. I have no idea. I love me some chorizo and eggs. Man, now I'm hungry. Now I need to go have dinner. Shit. But yeah. So that's cool. Well, I'm gonna go. Uh may try to get on Sunday. Um, don't hold me to that though. But it's been a couple. It's we recorded last Sunday, so I was like, oh, I'll just record on Tuesday. Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, Wednesday. Yeah, Age of Music. You have a good day. I'm gonna go. Thanks everybody. Hope you have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves because we're fond of saying you're the only you have. And we'll talk y'all real soon. Later, y'all. Bye.